Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to flag more hours as a flat rate technician. Got a comment on one of my last videos asking what to look for. So today I figured I'd give some advice or tips on what to look for and what to, do to start to flag more hours. The first tip I would say is be organized. So say you're doing like brakes. Let's say like a simple job like brakes. You're doing brakes on a car and you have all your tools out on, like, say you have a tool cart. You have all your tools out on a tool cart. You're a flat rate technician. You should have a tool cart at this point or whatever, something to roll your shit around. You have all your stuff in the tool cart. You get done with that job, go to the next job. It's brakes again, but you still have all your stuff scattered on your tool cart, and now you have to dig through your stuff to find what you need for the next job. It takes a little bit of time, 10 to 20 seconds, crazy amount of time, maybe a minute or two. But after you get done with the job, just take the time to just put everything back in its place, like in your tool cart or box, to move on to the next job, so you know where everything is for the next job. Makes things a little bit faster. It takes fractional amounts of time off, but fractional amount of time add up. If you can take off fractional amount of time off of different parts of every job, it adds up. So be organized, put your shit back, put everything in a place to where it should be so you can find it easier the next time, so you can get done faster. Next tip would be invest in a tool cart. If you don't have a tool cart, invest in a tool cart so you can work either multiple bays, or if you're if you aren't able to stay in one singular bay, you can put your tools on the tool cart and move to whatever bay you're working on. Makes things a hell of a lot faster, unless you plan on just throwing your stuff on the floor, because that's what I did whenever I first started. I was a flat rate technician without a tool cart, so I would take my tools from my box, what I needed, go over to the car that I'm working on, and just throw them on the floor and, work like that. I would basically just have my tools underneath the car as I'm working on that car. And that's what I did for a while until I got a tool cart. They're only like, you can pick a tool cart up from Harbor Freight for like 20 to 40 bucks or something like that. Go on Facebook Marketplace, find like a used one, talk to the guys in the shop. I'm sure one of the higher up techs around has an old tool cart that they just don't use anymore. It happens. Next tip I would say is get into a routine. Find a routine that works for you. So when you're doing like your MPIs or CVIs or whatever you call them at dealerships, they're MPIs, or at the dealership I work at, they're MPIs. Multi-point inspections, or CVI, which is what Firestone called them, which was complete vehicle inspections. Get into a routine of how you check everything. Once you figure out a routine on how you check everything, stay in that routine and keep doing that routine, and eventually you'll just get fast in that routine, because that's just motor skills, what you're used to doing. You'll just be able to do it subconsciously as you're working. That being said, it's going to be different for everybody. I don't know. My routine, to give you a brief rundown, is I'll bring the car in, fill wash fluid. Well, I'll hook up the battery tester. Okay, I'll fill the wash fluid. I'll set the lift, print out the battery sheet, take the oil cap, put it on the hood latch, and that's just in case like the hood falls down, the hood supports aren't great or whatever. You put the oil cap in the hood latch and it prevents the hood from closing. Also, if you put it there, you won't forget to put it back on. So if it's anywhere else, you can close the hood and forget to put it back on if it's in the hood latch. if you close the hood, you're just going to either destroy the oil cap or the hood just won't close. And you'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot to put that on. Did I put oil in the car? Yeah. So there's a tip. But get into a routine. That's my courtesy check or first interactions with the vehicle routine. And I like check belts, any kind of leaks, check hoses, check coolant, check fluids, do all that stuff. Bring the car up. I take the wheels off if I'm doing a rotate. Take the car all the way up, start draining the oil, and I go around and check everything. And then by the time I'm done checking everything, I put the drain plug back in, change filter, drop back down. If it doesn't need brakes, put tires back on, drop it all the way down, put fluid in it, get it out of there. Now, it's going to be different on how you recommend things and how things are done between dealership and third-party shops. Where at Firestone I was able to keep the vehicle in the shop while they tried to sell it to the customer right away. At a dealership, it's more or less like you get what's done on the ticket done, and then you put in your recommendations, you drop that car down, you get it out of there, and then you pull in the next one and start on that one. That's probably the best way to do it. Even if you're working at Firestone, I would recommend doing it that way. But it's going to be different, like I said, where you work and how they want you to do things. That being said, stick to a routine and you'll get fast at that routine and you'll flag a lot of hours, trust me. Next would be to multitask. So like, I'm trying to best way to explain this. Say you have, okay, I'll give you a ticket to give you an example. Say a car comes in for an oil change, rotate, brakes, all the way around brakes, and a brake fluid exchange. So, multitask being, you'll bring the car in, open up the hood, do everything you normally do, hook up the brake fluid machine. Okay? Hook up the brake fluid machine. I know, crazy shit. What you're gonna do is hook up the brake fluid machine. If you don't have a brake fluid machine and you gravity bleed to do brake fluid exchanges, don't hook up the brake fluid machine. Just top off the reservoir. Hook up the brake fluid machine, raise the car up, take off your wheels, raise the car up, start draining the oil, and while oil's draining, go around and do your brake fluid exchange. Wow, multitask. Now you knocked out a 0.7 job along with your oil change. That was 0.3, so you did an hour's worth of work in what, half an hour if that? Like, it doesn't take too long. And don't overcomplicate things. Like, I know when you're first starting out, yeah, I guess slow down and do things right, because eventually you'll just get the hang of it and know how to do it, and you'll get speed over time. Don't worry about speed when you first start out as a flat rate technician or as a technician in general. Work on quality, focus on quality, and then the speed will just naturally come over time. You just know how to do that job and you can get it done quicker the next time. It's not about like, how do I cheat the system? I mean, there's no way to really cheat the system. There's gravy jobs that you can get that pay more than what they should. There's also jobs that pay way less than what they should. It's all basically roll the dice. Who likes you in the shop? I mean, shop politics. That's what it comes down to. Who gets fed gravy work and who doesn't. The best thing I can say is to look for things. The last tip I'm going to sit here and ramble on about is trying to upsell stuff. That's your best bet as a technician who doesn't get fed gravy work, or a technician who's just starting in the flat rate world, is to just try to upsell on every car. Look for everything. That's what I did when I was working at Firestone and getting oil change rotates all day. That's all I got, and I was able to flag up to 80 to 90 hours a week. So if I can do it, I mean, anybody can do it. You just look for things to upsell. Main thing I looked to upsell was brakes. 4 millimeter or below, I would start recommending. Spark plugs was another one. Any kind of service, so like brake fluid exchanges, were gravy. Fuel system cleanings are relatively gravy. I mean, it takes some time, but still, it's not bad. Differential fluid exchanges, those are good. Transfer case fluid exchanges, I mean, literally just look for anything and everything and you write it down and you recommend it and you do it to every vehicle. And my mindset at Firestone was, even if it was just a courtesy check, I was checking out the whole vehicle. I was making sure the vehicle was safe. I wasn't recommending anything. Like, I didn't recommend anything nobody needed. So like, if somebody didn't need brakes, I wasn't going to recommend brakes because I wanted the hours. That wasn't right in my mind. But I would look for things that were worn or bad. So like, tie rod had play. Even if it was just a tad bit of play when I shook the wheel, like that tad bit of play is going to get worse over time. So I recommended that tie rod with an alignment. And also compound things. So like, you're doing, I don't know, valve cover gasket at 90,000 miles or something like that, recommend spark plugs along with that valve cover gasket. It's going to get you an extra like 0.3 or something like that. Or if the service writer who doesn't know what they're doing up front decides to put them in separate lines, well, you're getting paid, 3 hours to do this valve cover plus another 2 hours to do the spark plugs. So there's ways that you can make more hours without running around the shop and really busting your ass to have to do it. It just takes some time. It's all about, the main thing I can say is focus on quality, and speed comes over time. That's the best I can say. And if you want to get faster and you want to make more hours, just try to upsell on every car. Don't sell anything they don't need, but don't skimp on yourself. Lower control arms are dry rotting, the bushings are dry rotting. Notate that. Tell the customer, hey, your lower control arm is dry rotting, just so you know eventually they're going to tear, and that's going to cause your alignment to go out and your tires to wear. So stuff like that. That's all the tips I have. If you have any tips for other people in the comments, just leave them down there. I'll take any tips myself, but those are the ones I have. I don't flag a crazy amount of hours. It's not like I flag the most hours as a flat rate technician. I average like 70 hours a week, which I work anywhere from 40 to 50. So flagging 70 to 80 hours a week, that's not terrible. So those are my tips. If you found them helpful, like and subscribe. If you didn't, whatever. If you have any other tips that you feel would be helpful to people, leave them in the comment section below. And thank you guys for watching. Peace.